What if you could build a bot that's faster than a sportsbook? A bot that scans every single game, every single second, looking for a single moment of weakness. Most people think it's impossible, but the sportsbooks aren't perfect. They're slow, and their math isn't always in sync. We can use that to our advantage. Therefore, I'm going to show you step by step how I built a bot that finds and exploits tiny pricing mistakes between different sportsbooks live in the middle of a game to lock in a guaranteed profit. And listen, even if you have zero interest in sports, you're going to learn how to surgically reverse engineer a website's private API, how to design a truly scalable code architecture, and how to automate a web browser to perform tasks faster than any human ever could. This is all for educational purposes, of course. So to understand arbitrage, you first need to understand how a sportsbook guarantees they make money. Think of a simple coin flip. A truly fair bet, a 50-50 chance, meaning if you bet $100, you win or lose $100. Pretty simple. But a sportsbook isn't a business of fair bets. They hide a small fee in the odds called the juice. It means on any sportsbook, the math is always slightly tilted against you. Let's say you bet $100 on heads and your friend bets $100 on tails. A sportsbook won't pay out $100 on a win. They might pay out $95. You and your friend spent a total of $200, but the sportsbook only paid back $195. The missing $5 is the juice. But what happens when two sportsbooks disagree on the price? Imagine a live baseball game. Aaron Judge, up to bat, hits a dinger. BetMGM, one of the sportsbooks, instantly updates its odds. But DraftKings, another sportsbook, is a few seconds slower. It still has the old wrong price. Therefore, we can place a bet on one team on BetMGM and a bet on the other team on DraftKings. And because the prices are mismatched, the built-in fees, also known as the juice, are more than canceled out by the pricing error. Suddenly, there's a guaranteed profit margin waiting for us. You're no longer betting on who wins the game. You're betting on the difference in price. Alright, we understand the mission, we know the what and the why, now let's talk about the how, and the tools we'll be using. The entire bot will be built in Python, and for package management we're using UV, a new and incredibly fast tool. But the most important part of the workflow is how we begin. A complex project will fail without a plan. So before writing a single line of code, I act as an architect. And for that, I use an AI coding assistant called Cursor as my partner. First, I'll have it generate the what. The complete requirements document. It's our battle plan, every feature the bot must have. Then once we know what to build, I have it generate the complete architectural blueprint. It's a map for our entire project. By starting with this blueprint, we ensure our system is designed to scale from day one. Now we have our map, but the real challenges are just beginning. Our first and biggest challenge is getting the odds, and we need them in milliseconds. So we have to become digital detectives. We open up the network tab and hunt for the secret messages the website sends to its server to get fresh data. But let me be clear, this isn't a treasure map, it's a puzzle, and it can be a tedious one. Often the data you want is buried deep inside of a massive nested object. This is a process of patient trial and error. But after enough digging, you find it, the motherlode. Now the major sportsbooks are fortresses. If you want a system that can actually work at scale, we have to have a plan to bypass their security. If you make too many requests too quickly, they'll hit you with a rate limit and eventually an IP ban. Therefore, our bot can't look like one person spamming requests. It needs to look like thousands. This is where residential proxies come in. They make our requests look like they're coming from thousands of different home computers, but the disguise isn't complete without the right masks. This is where a tool like curl CFFI comes in. It doesn't just send a request, it perfectly impersonates the fingerprint of a real Chrome browser. The combination of proxies and browser impersonation makes our bot a true ghost in the machine. Alright, we just cracked the Sportsbooks API. The next system we have to beat is the YouTube algorithm itself. The like button is its primary vulnerability. Hitting it tells the algorithm to push this knowledge out to more people. Now that we have the data, what do we do with it? The amateur approach of running a giant script is a tangled disaster. Therefore, we need to think like a software architect. The solution is abstraction. Here's why this matters. Every sportsbook is different. DraftKings might send odds with team names like NY Giants. BetMGM might use New York Giants. If we write separate code for each one, we're doomed. But with abstraction, we create a single universal blueprint for what an odds fetcher must do. Then we build specific modules for each sportsbook that follow the blueprint. Suddenly, our system becomes incredibly flexible. Adding a new sportsbook, just plug in a new module. With our clean data streams, the orchestrator passes the odds to the brain of the operation, the arbitrage detector, which standardizes the team names to make sure it's always comparing apples to apples before running the numbers. Our detector just found a golden ticket, now we have to act. This is where Selenium comes in. Think of it as a digital robot. It navigates the site using specific addresses, such as XPath and CSS selectors. . But here's the challenge. When we automate browsers, sportsbooks can detect us. They analyze your browser fingerprint, even the way your mouse moves. If they detect automated tools, you'll likely be banned instantly. Libraries like Undetected Chrome Driver, Selenium Driverless, and UC Base handle this for us. They make our browser invincible. And just like with our odds fetching, we face the same architectural challenge here. Every sportsbook's website is different. If we wrote code for each one, our system might become a nightmare to maintain. Therefore, we apply the exact same solution, a universal browser automation blueprint. Each book gets its own plugin module that follows rules. One site changes, we only fix one small module. But live games are chaotic. A single play shifts the odds instantly. To make matters worse, sportsbooks add delays. The spinning wheel? Yeah, that's intentional. The perfect opportunity can vanish as you click. Smashing place bet is reckless, disastrous. Therefore, a resilient bot operates like a pilot with a pre-flight checklist. First, the orchestrator commands both browsers to navigate and fill the bet slips in parallel, but it doesn't confirm. It pauses for verification. The bot scrapes both bet slips to confirm that odds still match the opportunity. Only after it confirms that both sides are ready and waiting does the orchestrator send the final synchronized command to click place bet. This transforms the bot from a reckless gambler into a calculated fault-tolerant system. It ensures we never fire a half missile. With this safety check complete, we can finally unleash the speed. The thread pool executor acts like two pilots turning their keys at the same instant, executing that final command in parallel. This is the moment of truth. Both bets are placed within the same fraction of a second, locking in the profit. And there it is, profit lock. Let's zoom out. You just learned the complete blueprint for building a bot that can find and exploit efficiencies in a multi-billion-dollar industry, all with a little bit of code. But for those of you whose minds are already racing, this proof of concept is just the beginning. The rabbit hole goes much deeper. To turn this into a truly production-ready system, you need to ask yourself, how do we scale? Adding a third, fourth, or 10th sportsbook is obviously the next step. How do we manage money? A real bot needs to be a bankroll manager, check your balances and figure out where you need to add money. What if you're too successful? Sportsbooks don't like winners. They'll just either ban you or limit you when you become too profitable. And the biggest question of all is arbitrage even the best strategy? What if you discover one book is consistently slow? Maybe the optimal play isn't to hedge at all, but just to place one single confident bet. That's moving from guaranteed pennies to calculated high stakes hunting. This is a real game, so the only question left is, what will you build next?